Well, hi everyone. Yours truly, me, Derek. I've been in the hospital with pneumonia, so things got a little slow on the GTI front. I'm now on some prednisone and some moxifloxacin, which is the pretty heavy-duty grade bacterial pneumonia antibiotic. But I'm on day 4 of the meds and I'm feeling better and I'm home, so I'm doing a little bit of work here, even though I'm probably not supposed to. Cerium Oxide from Gordon's Glass. It's powder. You mix it with water, get sort of a soft paste-like consistency. I'm using a Simonized, random orbital polisher with a felt pad, and I'm polishing the old glass, both the outside and the inside. The reason why I do the inside is it just cleans it up. It's just sort of a nice glass cleaner, any old marks. A few things I can't get off easily. There's a little tiny ridge where it meets the molding, and I guess over the years you'd have, gritty dirt sort of settle into that crack and wear in. So there's just, it's actually right along the line. There's absolutely no imperfections in this particular panel. Did an amazing job of cleaning it up. It's perfect. So I'm going to be able to go through, do all my glass. If there's big scratches, it may not be, may not get it all, but you can do quite a bit. Oh, there's a cat attack here, and my 3-legged cat. One of the 2 cats in our house. It's Odin. He's a Burmese little guy. Anyway, I'm going to show you the front windshield now. So I'm going to do all the glass. You'll notice that this glass is the US Rabbits were, the later Rabbits at least, were green tint. It actually says tinted right on it. So my new windshield is tinted. So I'm going to be going at this a little bit, do something else coming back because this gets a little tedious, but I'm happy. You could use this on any car that's like a windshield that's got a little haze, some acid rain spots or wiper marks. This stuff is the Cerium Oxide actually is damn good. It works nicely. Okay, we're out here in the garage, and I've temporarily dropped in the new glass, and I'm just looking at how it fits. So I've got it centered side to side, and I got about 5 millimeters gap. Bottom's just resting on the metal, and so there's a little under 1 centimeter top to bottom. So anyway, here you can see I've got a little piece of the molding I'm planning on using. It just pinches around the glass, so you'd surround the window with this before you lay down the urethane and drop this on. So I'm looking at a couple things. One is the depth of the window relative to the frame. So you can see on the side here that it's sort of 1 centimeter down versus probably half that or less with the rubber molding. If you just glue this straight on, which you really have to do, you have to glass straight to the pinch weld. I was thinking of offsetting this, letting this sit up about 5 millimeters and then just having thicker urethane, and it's just, I think it's risky that it's not going to hold the glass properly. Other people have probably done this different ways. I was thinking of having the rubber molding stick up a little bit and then having this sit on the rubber molding and then have, just more thicker urethane attaching the window. But instead, I think I'm going to go for this kind of profile here. So, this is pretty much down against the glass. I mean, there'll be lots of urethane. I don't need to push it in and flatten it hard against the metal. I can let it sit on the urethane and sit up a little bit proud, but I'm still going to have this drop from the metal into the glass. And I'm using a 17 millimeter generic, or is this one 17? Or yeah, this one's 17. I've got 17 and 19. And this will provide a little bit of an overlap. It's the right look in terms of the original look, in terms of width. But as I said, this is going to be, the window will be set in a bit further than I think it was on the other. Pretty sure it's just drops down, as I said, about that 5 millimeters. So this is just a quick test fit. Drop it in, have a look at it, decide what I'm going to do. Now the moldings on the inside, can't really see across there too easily, but that molding, which is just temporarily on there, butts up against the glass nicely. I just took the top trim piece, which is sitting on the seat there, and I put it on the top, and it butts up against the glass nicely. And because there's this black, you know, the glue and glass has that black trim around the edges, it actually butts up against that and looks nice. The only place that's got a gap is running here, you know, along the window at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is literally, here's what the original piece looked like. Wasn't that pretty. I had the original window molding and then the piece of foam, and I may just cut this and glue this piece in just along the bottom, right? Just along where the dash is, and do that before I put the urethane and the glass on. But I think this is going to go well, so I'm going to get this done this weekend. I'm thinking about getting the Mark II window lifter mechanism, or the window guide, rather than using the modified Mark I's. Just I can get the Mark I's to work. In fact, I did to get the glass in this one, but it's sort of a bit of a hack, and I'm thinking, God, got the doors apart. Why don't I wait a week, get those Mark II mechanisms and use them instead of the Mark I's. So the Mark IIs will line up with the Mark II electric window lift. So anyway, fiddling with the glass, trying to get this done in the next week or so I can get the car back on the road. And it's actually nice having this glass in here. Because of the tint and because of the correct curvature on these side windows, like there's the original plastic, and you can see it's a clear, and then there's the tint. And I think the tint looks nice, and it's nice that it's got the correct curvature versus the other one that didn't really follow the felt very well, or the window molding very well. Actually, I just cut this old molding to have a look at it. So let's see if I can get you guys to see that correctly. There you go. Let's put a better view. So this is the piece that goes around the pinch hole, which is strange because it's such a wide gap. And then there's where the glass fits in. And the glass, it's only lifted up 3 millimeters above the surface of the pinch hole, 3 to 4, depending how much this little lip here flattens down when the glass gets pushed in. So I gotta have some urethane in there. It's not gonna be flat against the metal. So I think it's actually gonna be close to the same. See, then you can see it curves and drops down, you know, into the glass. So I'm now starting to think I don't need to worry too much about having the glass at the wrong relative to position height-wise. It looks like by just drawing my thick bead of urethane, plunking the glass onto the urethane, it's gonna set up at the right height that it originally was, and that little trim piece over there is gonna be fine. Nice. It's actually a little narrower than this. This is probably more like 24 versus 17, but the thing is, the glass that is in the the glue-in glass is wider. It has to be, so it has enough overlap with the pinch weld, and so this, by its very nature, is going to have to be shortened, so it won't look exactly like the other one. It'll be a little less heavy, in fact. So I think it'll actually look better. So anyway, back to the glass. One thing the glass automotive installer guy, one of the guys told me, is you can just take, some sandpaper, some 320 grit sandpaper, wet it, and then you can polish the edges. And they're quite rough like this. I've just done this one, and I'm about to polish this, and I just tried it. And it takes all the sharp edge off, which makes it easier to go into the mold. This one, I haven't sanded the edges yet, and the edges are a little bit rougher. And you can definitely tell it'll grab the rubber and not want to slide in it as nicely. So yeah, you don't just be careful when you do it, but you can smooth those edges off. You can actually round them off significantly with a belt sander, like a small belt sander. That'll be way faster, but you don't necessarily need to go that hard on it. So I'm developing a little bit of a technique for this Cerium Oxide polishing. First time around, you know, maybe spend 10 minutes aside and just get any old, you know, surface grime and crap off of it, and wash it down, dry it, have a look at it, and then you can see where you may need to go harder on it. It's remarkably good stuff. It certainly brings the glass back to life. If there's a deep scratch, you're not going to get it out, or a deep pit. Minor hazing, minor scratches, you know, you can make them disappear. Moderate scratches, you can soften them up and make them less visible and less annoying. I'm lucky so far. I've only done the 2 quarters over there, and this one rear panel. So we'll see how much trouble I run into. You know, it's hard, as I said, to see what's in front of you until you've done a pass. So like 10 minutes aside on a smaller window, 15 minutes aside on a larger window, and then wash it, dry it, inspect it, and then go at it again. You know, it's an iterative process. So love this stuff though. Boy, it's sure nice being able to do the glass out of the car. But if you ever have to do it in the car, you know, you have to just stay away from the edges. But nothing wrong with freshening up your windshield, for instance. Matter of fact, I'm so keen on this. Had a McGuire's sort of glass polisher, didn't have the same aggressive compound, and didn't work quite as well. But this stuff will certainly freshen up a windshield and make it a hell of a lot nicer. So I think, you know, once a year on your front windshield, taking a pass with this stuff would be a smart idea, actually. Oh, and just a few tips. So if you're trying to work on an area, just mark it with a felt or something on the back side so you can see where you're working. It's kind of hard otherwise to know, or a piece of tape or something. Do not get shit in the pad and then go and scratch up your nice window. And do not take this and push it around manually. Have it on, move it around, but don't and then start it up, because you'll actually scratch it. So just try to have your work surface clean, try to have your pad clean, obviously, and then don't start dragging this thing manually around and smearing this stuff with your fingers too much, because you can create little lines in it. So it's better to have, you know, any polishing be in a random orbital dual action kind of pattern, rather than you know, just fooling around. So just wash it carefully without too much pressure, and dry it, inspect it, go back and use the DA on it. So maybe it's my mind's messing with me, but as you get it shinier and shinier, the few remaining deeper scratches you can see more clearly. I obviously prefer having the glass, you know, way cleaner and way more perfect. But it is funny, you get a whole area really quite shiny, and then you see a single line through the center of it instead of like thousands of little crazed lines. So just something to keep in mind. It is what it is. So I'm getting rid of glue in the window, and I'm using this generic molding. And what's nice about it, I guess they all have this, is they do have some sealant pre-applied in the groove. So as I'm pressing it in here, it is sticking on the window pretty well. So I'm just sort of working my way around the window, and then I've got the Cerium all the way around. I'll test fit it, make sure it sits where I want it to sit, and over here I will be, so I'll remove all the tape here in a second, then once I've test fitted, I'll decide exactly what I want to do about filling these gaps in the front between the the dash and the pinch weld, and then I'll put the spacer in. No need for the spacer on these sides, as I've said, because it butts up nicely. Plastic pieces, tops and sides. So I only need to worry about this section down here. Well, it looks good. And just flip it up on the end here. There's a ridge that's really quite high. Let me just get this up without damaging it. So if you look along the edge there, you can see that there's a ridge that sticks up a good 4 to 5 millimeters. So the urethane is going to go on the inside of that ridge, but it's not going to sit right up against the pinch weld. It's obviously going to be offset by that 5 millimeters, so it's going to be the same height as the other design with the rubber molding that holds it in. So anyway, yeah, this looks good. I'm about to pop it on the car now and double check it. By the way, I've been in the hospital this week with pneumonia. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but my voice is a lot clearer. I still have that cough a little bit, but I'm on prednisone and moxifloxacin, or whatever that really killer antibiotic is. I've been on the antibiotics twice this year and never really got rid of this stupid chest cold. It started in my sinuses almost 9-10 months ago, and it eventually transitioned into my lungs, and brutal. But it's clearing up now. So tough week in the hospital and all the rest of it, but I'm out. A little bit of a delay in the project, but I'm feeling a lot more energetic. So it actually looks really good. This is technically a 17 millimeter generic. I just measured it on the car like this, and it looks more like 18 than 17. But the next step up is 19, and you can see where the molding runs next to this guy. It's already almost touching. It's got significant overlap in the top and bottom, but on the sides it's minimal. So it covers everywhere on both sides, but barely, with maybe a millimeter to spare, maybe 2 in the corners, maybe 3 millimeters over here, but it covers it. And who cares, because it's glued in, right? So it's not like this is a seal issue. So it's gonna look awesome. It's gonna be good. And now I'm gonna just check to see what I need to do to fill in the gap in here. Well, what am I doing? Sorry. Yeah, the gap in there is where I need to start thinking things through. Okay. Well, there she blows. It's in. Sorry, I didn't have a helper to, video me thrashing as I was gluing and adjusting it. But basically, yeah, it sits nicely. It's probably identical to the original glass depth. So yeah, it looks the part. And so some learning lessons. I used heavy, thicker viscosity urethane on the lower edge, and it's just too hard to squeeze it out of the tube. So I had a couple tubes of medium, which I recommend. It seemed to have more working time to it, and certainly comes out of the gun easier. Maybe I won't go digging in here too far because there's a lot of shit in here, but I don't know if you can see, but let's see if I wipe this off. There's a notch in the end of the tube. If you get the right kind of tube, there's a notch in it, and so it's laying sort of a pyramid, wedge. And then I went around the inside afterwards and filled in further everywhere inside. I sort of ran some masking tape around the border of the glass. After I accidentally got a little bit above the border, I went, okay, I'm gonna take my time and clean that off, and then go out there and mask it properly this time. So only critical to mask it along the bottom, tops and sides were easier. But yeah, I sort of made sure anywhere where I felt there wasn't enough urethane, I got extra urethane in there and smoothed it out. And when it's hard tomorrow, then I'll put the trim pieces all in. I decided not to put them in before, for good reason, it turns out, because then you really can't see how well the urethane is bonded to the pinch weld on the glass. So I want to make sure I have it sealed and have it structurally strong. So let it cure overnight, and I'll put the trim in. And what's to say, I like it better than the other glass because I've got this masking line on it. So when I put the trim pieces on, you can't see the edges of the trim. So a lot cleaner looking actually. So there we go. The other thing is, on the electric doors, electric window mechanisms, I've ordered the Mark II window channels, because the Mark I's, after I sort of jury-rigged it to work with the Mark I's on the first side, and then it's really hard to get the bolts in and out, and I went, screw it. So I found some on the internet and ordered them, and they should be here later this week, and then I can get the electric mechanisms finished as well, and that'll be good. So I'm wrapping it up for tonight.